everybody, and welcome to the main line. I am your host for this evening, Marissa Gahn. Thank you so much for joining in. Today, we have a special episode for you. Today's guest is a DMV native, a cooking cannabis connoisseur, a true inspiration and testament to how cooking with cannabis has benefits over your body. Please, everybody, welcome to our show, Chef Jazz, the Green Panther Chef.
Hello. Hi.
Chef Jazz, thank you so much. Everybody at Mary Main is truly grateful and excited that you're here with us today. I'm really blessed. So first things first, culinary chef, how did you get your start into the culinary world? What triggered that moment of this is my passion?
So it started when I was a kid. I love cooking with my grandmother, and my mother was a restaurateur, a vegan restaurateur.
Ooh.
Before it was like a thing, so I used to travel with her. Fun fact, I went to 9 different elementary schools. A lot of people think I'm an army brat, but I was a product of a mother in the restaurant, so I would travel all up and down the East Coast.
Oh, wow. So hold on, wait, you said a trigger word that literally got me excited. A vegan chef.
Yes.
Oh my God. So I was reading a little bit about you and how you have like a background with homeopathic remedies. I'm pretty sure that's probably where you get those integrations.
Absolutely.
Can you share with us any like of your favorite childhood like homeopathic remedies like that you have transferred into today's lifestyle?
A big one now is like aloe and juicing. We always used to juice, and this might sound super weird, but my mom used to juice our salads sometimes, I'm talking about like everything, and it was gross, but I have an appreciation for juicing now with having Crohn's disease. So that's something that I kind of bridged over,
Oh, wow. So in the cannabis industry, can you tell us like what inspired you behind the Green Panther Chef?
Yeah, so myself having Crohn's disease, graduating from culinary school, I was dropped down to like 84 pounds. What really inspired me was really to give health and happiness to other people, or at least help one other person. I love food, and I know that I started as Jazzicator actually many years before Green Panther Chef. And so a lot of people were just pushing me into like, look, I've seen you literally lay horizontal, be bedridden. And now you're like, you have a lot more energy, like you're energetic. Like, what are you doing? And so a lot of trial and error and just me wanting to share. I'm a giver. So yeah. Full service cannabis catering company. Why not?
So with starting a whole cannabis catering company, what are some things that you've learned along the way?
So as far as for cannabis or business?
Cannabis that transferred into business.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of things that I have learned, of course, knowing your numbers when you're working with other people. You have to know like your numbers, your dosage, all that good type of stuff, knowing what strands work for you. And that really comes down to knowing your own endocannabinoid system, and so like when I first started, just what worked for me, I thought it would work for you, and so that's why I really stress the importance of having like a cannabis and food journal and just like really appreciating and knowing your body.
This is true. This is so true. A journal. So that way we can kind of recognize where we're going in our day, where did we like benefit most from, and where did we kind of like challenge ourselves a little bit. That's actually a really great idea.
And it's been really great because like I keep something like this, this like you can fold it up, you can throw it inside your inside your purse. But as you eat throughout the day, you can just kind of jot down like how are you feeling, and so at the end you can really reflect and then see what triggers there are and what strains work. Like some strains I don't like at all, they just don't work for me, but others are just great, and you can just set it and forget it, create those repeatable results.
Now you mentioned that you were suffering from Crohn's disease. Can you go a little bit more into that for us?
Yeah, so diagnosed 2007. It's a gastrointestinal disease for people who may not know, but I have like 6 ulcers inside of my stomach that are going like nowhere. I dropped down to 84 pounds, all of that fun stuff, right? But I'm really smiling because like a lot of trial and error later, I'm really in a great place, you know? And so that really came down to like knowing what worked for me, knowing the numbers as well, and then really just loving the process is too, you know, you can't rush it.
Wow. And so with this disease that pretty much like I thought it was just amazing and truly inspirational. Honestly, you went to school for culinary and then outside of it you get hit with this disease where it impacts the one thing that you just went to school with, your whole digestive system.
Exactly.
So how did that disease affect your everyday now after your whole culinary career?
So that's
And
such a great question, right? Because like I was trained in French cooking. So if you're familiar, that's like really like fatty type of foods and layers of flavors and stuff like that. And so I had an appreciation for that in culinary school, of course, you know, but now my body can't tolerate things like that, you know? And so really identifying, like I said, with the Cannabis and Food Journal, I used to love like sourdough toast with strawberries on top. Couldn't have that. Realized that it was a trigger, you know, and so then replacing it with oatmeal instead and doing like a strawberry, raspberry coulis on top. And I could still have like those flavors and the hardiness, but it just took some time for me to identify those triggers, you know? And so, like I said, you got to love the process.
wow, wow. Now you also mentioned the endocannabinoid system. Now, for those that do not know, everybody is born with the endocannabinoid system. We all have these receptors within us that kind of lie within our nervous system where we are more receptive to pick up certain terpenes, especially in that of cannabis. Now, one cool thing I was reading on is that the endocannabinoid system is one of the first systems to develop as we're a fetus, as well as the digestive system. Like they go hand in hand. Like that was an amazing fact that I found out. So, with that being said, when it came into cannabis, were there any specific or just beneficial effects that you discovered within the whole cannabis world?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Me, being on 5 medications, you know, and then I'm on none of those now, you know, that's 13 years later. So there are immense benefits to knowing about like your cannabis and food relationship, you know?
Wow.
So yeah.
Now, do you remember any like specific strains, like the strain name? I'm always interested in strain names. Do you remember any strains that were
Mhm.
benefiting you?
When I first, it was blue cheese, right?
Hey, yes.
Then blue cheese, and then Charlotte's Web. I've had the most success with that one.
Okay.
And then, what was it? Con Bud. I don't know if that was a DC Central thing,
Yeah, I've never heard that one before.
but that.
Wow. Charlotte's Web. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that one is a strain that is higher on CBD than THC. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you're starting to cook with cannabis, you should use strains that are a little bit higher in CBD because it is more forgiving, you know, and then also it interacts with those receptors that are inside of your gut too.
Wow. So, what would your favorite way, if it's not obvious enough, what would be your favorite way on consuming cannabis?
So that's interesting. I love to do it. I love salads, right? So of course edibles, that's my thing, but in food, savory foods in particular. Yeah.
So, wait, how do you incorporate cannabis into salads?
So I mean salad dressings as
Um,
well, you know? Exactly. You got to get a little creative. And so it's like really is bridging like that technical culinary background and then applying it to the cannabis world. You can kind of like, you know, expand upon different extraction methods and then recipes and just kind of become a mad scientist. I love it.
Yeah, and can you go into more in depth of how to, I guess, infuse and extract for us, please?
Yeah, definitely. So extraction of definitely is when you're adding your cannabis to like something that is fatty, because cannabis is hydrophobic or hydrophilic, however you want to say it. It adheres to things that are like extra virgin olive oil, coconut milk, things like that. And so those cannabinoids actually adhere to that fat, and that's how you get the extraction method or the extraction. Be mindful though that like through the extraction process, like 20% of the cannabinoids are going to be lost. So when you're starting to do that calculation, you are going to have to keep that in mind. But I do have a few things that I always tell people. They think that cooking with cannabis is like expensive and difficult, and it doesn't necessarily have to be. But just like some items that I had over here that I just want to pull up, as far as like canola oil, I was teaching a class like last week, and someone said they made these awesome brownies, but nothing happened because they used canola oil in the extraction process. And one was because canola oil has a really high smoke point, and so by the time the cannabinoids and the oil gets high enough to actually extract the cannabinoids, you've burnt out all of the benefits of the cannabis. So using something with a lower smoke point, is awesome. Extra virgin olive oil. I keep this on hand, just because of the flavor profile. Coconut oil is best, yes. But some people, it isn't palatable for some people. They don't like it, but vegan all day, but extra virgin olive oil is something that's more neutral.
Wait. And so why would you say extra virgin coconut oil is best?
One is because the cannabinoids adhere to that fat molecule just a lot better, than like an extra virgin olive oil. But you still get those benefits with extra virgin olive oil. So don't let that deter you. The same thing with butter, so yeah, you're still going to get those benefits.
Wow. Okay, so what would be the essential first step with cooking with cannabis?
The first step is getting a good source, but cooking with cannabis, right? Decarboxylation. You really have to activate it. When I first started cooking with cannabis, though, I did not actually decarboxylate. I started to just juice it. I have a method where I call it chuck a nug, right? Where I literally put it inside of juice. And it really has, I'm using the THCA benefits at that point, but it has powerful anti-inflammatory. And that was when I was able to start introducing like solids into my diet and then stews into my diet. So juicing. But then if you actually want to extract it and put it into foods, decarboxylating is what you need to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, for those that do not know, decarboxylation is when you are heating up your weed or marijuana at a low temperature for a long extended period of time, and you are pretty much transferring THCA, which is non-psychoactive but very healing, into THC, which is the psychoactive property in effect.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the decarboxylation step one.
Absolutely. So yeah, I always say it's nothing more than activating your cannabis at a certain time and temperature. Like that's it, right? And so decarboxylation, that's for sure. Sometimes actually, just to back up a little bit, depending on the taste and the flavor profile, sometimes people are a little apprehensive to try cannabis because of like that the taste. Essentially, they just don't like it. So washing your cannabis before you decarboxylate is something that you can do, because it is hydrophobic. You're not going to damage or degrade your cannabis in any type of way,
Okay, and what would be the best way to wash your weed? I've never
Yeah, I know, right? Distilled water is best. And so typically what I do is I'll have a glass bowl or something like a hard plastic, put on my cannabis. It's already kind of like broken down for decarboxylation. It's just easier. But then I'll just fill it up with or cover it with distilled water. And then I would drain it or strain it at least 3 times in a period of 18 hours. Wow. That may take a little bit longer, but the product, like you can barely taste it.
Wow. Okay. Good to know. Yeah. So what are some projects like oils, I guess, that you're working on right now? Anything in the cabin right now?
My hot sauce. I have a conscious condiment line. So gut health is my thing. So hot sauces, extra virgin olive oils too, but really expanding that out to like marinades and seasoning blends and stuff like that. So
wow. Okay. So would you say that like dressings and marinades would be the best way to cook with cannabis?
The best way, I think that it's something great to have inside of your pantry, and so I microdose throughout the day. And so I don't have to necessarily sit down at one point and consume my cannabis. I'll start in the morning by maybe juicing, or I'll have a salad in the afternoon. And all of this is microdose. So I'm up to around like 25 milligrams to 30 throughout the whole day. So I just like to have it everywhere. So in a hot sauce, in a salad dressing, in a mustard, like, you know, it's all over the place.
Options. I love
I
it.
love options.
So now, okay, so you've mentioned juicing with cannabis. Now that doesn't include decarboxylation, but you're still getting the health benefits.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Any like favorite recipes that you could share with us?
Oh, it's ABC juice. Apple, beet, and carrot. And then add the extra C for cannabis. So
okay, yes. And you literally just mix it inside your smoothie, no decarboxylation.
Like literally, I have a juicer over here. I have a power juicer, but I use like a fresh pressed type of situation. So I'm not literally putting it in the blender. I find that it's just I just get more out of it when I'm juicing it.
Wow. And would you say, this is just me now, so your Crohn's disease had gone into remission like 2 years later. Would you contribute maybe some of those effects to the juicing?
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't eat at one point, you know, like I had lipids straight into my arm. So it was like to that point. And so I had to start to juice. That actually then in turn started to stimulate my appetite. You know, and then I started to be able to eat soups, and then I could keep it down. Then I could have salads, and then soups and solids, and now I'm here.
Wow. Wow. That is, see, and that's the inspiration behind everything. There's a reason why we go through these things, to be a true testament over what we've experienced, and hopefully this can benefit you and your experience.
Absolutely.
Wow. So let's see. Okay. So when you're cooking the Green Panther chef, what are some of your favorite infused meals to make for your guests?
Oh, I love doing a seafood paella. I love it. I love doing a seafood paella for my guests, just because it's visually like beautiful, you know, but it's a great like communal type of deal.
Very true. And so how would you infuse your cannabis in a paella?
So you have a few ways, especially if you're using like a concentrate, you can definitely put it inside of like what I would say is like the marinade on the bottom of the pan. So when you add like those onions and the tomatoes and all that good type of stuff, that's the point that you want to add that shatter. And then you want to add the stock and all that stuff. But if you are going to actually cook it, with extra virgin olive oil, I would actually, once it comes out the oven, then dose it. The only reason being is because you can burn the cannabinoids off at a certain temperature. So, yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, which would you say beginner? I just pretend I'm a beginner. I know nothing. I don't want to smoke it, but I want to eat it because I'm having trouble with this, that, and the third. So what would be my first and easiest thing? Would I go into concentrates like a shatter or a wax and then mix it? Or should I make my own infused oils and then just dose it?
So I actually go the whole flower method. The only reason being is because the accessibility. We can teach you how to dose and the numbers and all that good type of stuff. But if you are cooking for scale, then definitely concentrates. But it's like that whole empowerment as well around the whole flower. And yeah, just knowing how to extract it. It seems like people stick with cooking with cannabis a little bit longer, at least for my clients.
So what would you say would be the best concentrate to, I guess, cook with? Maybe a shatter or RSO?
So I like shatter. That's a really good one. RSO is awesome. I actually use that inside of our hot sauces, you know, just because of like all of the benefits that it has. But for a concentrate, shatter.
Okay. And what would be like ratios? Because at Mary Main at the shop, we have shatters that are 1 gram and half grams. And then we have RSO as well, and 1 grams and half grams. So what would you say starting out? And I just got a half gram of shatter. What would you say, I guess, how would I infuse that for me personally?
Definitely. So you're going to have to take the shatter. I always keep, this is kind of big here, but mason jars. inside of my house. So you're either going to take that shatter, you're going to put it inside of, you're going to have to decarboxylate. So you're going to have to put that shatter inside of like a jar or something like that, and then throw it inside the oven. 220 for 40 minutes, and that activates your cannabis. At that point, that's when you do want to add your fat, like your extra virgin olive oil, and then you can either put it over a double boiler if you want to, just to like you can emulsify it. But at that point, it's already good to go. As far as dosing, that's going to take some time, but there's 5 questions that you have to ask yourself when it comes to cooking with cannabis. So, I mean, yeah, if you really want to get into it, pick up this workbook, but I can tell you the 5 questions.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Let's see. Can we get a teaser of these questions?
So you're going to have to know your percentage of THC that is inside of like that syringe or wherever you're getting. Like, what is that percentage? You're also going to have to know the weight as well. And this is talking about flour once again, but you're going to have to know the weight. You can't omit this step if you are using concentrates, but you're going to have to know the weight of your decarb cannabis because it loses water weight, of course. The amount of the non-infused carrier fat as well, the units of measurement too, and then how many servings are in the recipe. So once you know all of those 5 questions, and that's readily information, you know, all you have to do is plug and play. And you can get approximate dosage as to like how much you're consuming.
Wow, that is a lot though. And you said that this is inside your workbook?
Yes, this is inside, and it breaks down. We actually work with the University of Maryland.
Ooh.
But yeah, it breaks down, and it has like a little chart in the background that shows you how you can dose, you know? So I don't know if you can see, but like we actually start going into how can you get that calculation. It also has like recipes and all that good type of stuff. So you can actually start hitting the ground running, you know? So yeah, it's a great resource if you're starting out.
Yes, and that website and that link to her workbook is right down here. Please, y'all, write that down and copy because knowledge is power, honestly. And there's no better feeling than empowering ourselves with this knowledge so that we can all benefit in the end.
Yep, that's what it's about.
Nice. I'm super blessed. Okay, so what are some, I guess, like your top 3 tips, like your top tips on like cooking with cannabis? Is there like some top tips that you could share with us?
One, I always say you don't have to be high to be healthy. A lot of people think that you have to overdo it, and too much is just too much, you know? So just that's number 1. And then 2, knowing about that bioavailability. 1 is because everything is going to hit a little bit different, right? So if you're especially using sugar inside of your recipe, it's going to metabolize a little bit different. Or if you're doing a brownie, let's say, that's going to metabolize totally different than like a salad dressing or something like that. And that's only because of the ingredients and just how it breaks the blood and brain barrier. Okay, and then the 3rd one would probably be, bioavailability and knowing your numbers.
Okay.
Know your numbers. Yeah, that's it. Know your numbers. I'm so serious, like, period.
That's what that workbook is for. We got to know our numbers. You're right.
That's what it's about.
Okay, any no-nos that we should know about? Anything that we should...
Too much is too much, 1. Know your supplier for sure. That's a big one. And then also, what would I say is a big one that I always see? Give them the carrier fat. Knowing not to extract in something like canola oil. Don't waste your weed, you know? Okay. Knowing how to decarboxylate. Don't over grind your cannabis as well. You want it to be kind of like a pea size when you decarboxylate. This just gets maximum benefits. Just don't ruin it. You know, you've done all the hard work to get the cannabis. You just want to maintain the integrity.
Now, when decarboxylating, a short little snippet, what would be the recommended temperature and time when decarboxylating before cooking?
So I play within a range, but for beginners, 220, around like 35 to 40 minutes. But I play in between like 220 all the way up to 300, depending on what I'm doing.
Okay. Now, as far as drinks are on your menu. Do you infuse your drinks?
Yeah. We definitely do.
Nice. Yeah. So what extraction way do you use for drinks?
We're actually using tinctures for our drinks. So we're using the ethanol extraction, and then we're putting it inside of our drinks that way.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Is there a summer cocktail that we should be expecting?
So I was playing around with this kiwi cucumber for
Mm,
like our spring menus, like a kiwi cucumber margarita. I'm like,
nice.
I'm gonna throw some jalapeno in there just because I like hot, but I'll let you know.
Definitely. Oh my gosh. Wow.
I'm staying with the green thing, as you can tell. The green thing.
True. True, true, true. At this time, I do want to open up the floor for any questions or comments from anyone in our show. Please raise your hand, comment, questions. I'm opening the floor for Q&A. In the meantime, I'm actually really curious over the Green Panther. Where did you get Panther from? I'm always curious about like stuff like that.
I've always like been someone in the shadows, just kind of like hanging back, but still has like very much of like authority, So I love Panthers. And then green, that sustainable element. With coming from 84 pounds to where I was at, you have to create sustainability. So Green Panther chef. I know. The
Wow.
whole story, but
Wow. Oh my gosh. So 84 pounds, and how tall are you?
I'm 5'3.5".
Wow. Yeah, that's. Oh,
I know, I know. I was like, oh my god, like a little boy. I was like, that was horrible. It was horrible.
wow. So it was like, so you were diagnosed in 2006 and then remission in what year?
2008.
Wow. So 2 years.
2008. Yeah, and I was bedridden. Like, it was a whole thing. But the thing is, I had a really supportive team around me. A lot of my girlfriends from college, they even pushed me. Like, they were like, look, Jazmine, you have to go to the doctor. And I'm like, no, I wanted to graduate. You got to be that superwoman. So as soon as I graduated, I went to the hospital. I was there for like a month. But.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, we have a question. We have a question from the audience. Let's see. Deidre says, do you have any knowledge about infusing MCT oil? Ooh.
MCT oil, I don't like to use that much, but yes, I do. It's the exact same process as you would with any other fat.
Okay, and what's the difference between MCT oil and coconut oil?
It's how it's derived. I don't even use it that much, to tell you the truth. So yeah.
Wait, so you mean house derived? What does that mean?
How it is derived.
Oh, how it's derived.
It is derived. Yeah.
Okay. So MCT oil does come from coconut oil.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it's just derived differently.
Yeah, exactly. And so it makes the extraction it adheres a little bit better than as you would with like a coconut oil that is unpasteurized or it isn't extracted yet, if that makes sense. It isn't refined. That's the word I'm looking for.
Okay. So MCT. All right, our next question. I heard that Chef Jazz talking kind, but
right. That's a throwback. Okay, yes.
Okay, you know
look like that. Yes.
So wait, what does that mean though?
No, it's literally a strand. So it's in the legacy market. You probably won't see it.
Okay.
Too much.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any more questions from the audience, y'all? Any more questions? Ooh, I got one. I actually have a friend that she still suffers from Crohn's disease. Did you ever get to that point of like being removed and then having a whole like colostomy bag and like you did?
That was supposed to just be the trajectory. They were like, yeah, in 2 years you'll come back and get a piece of your colon taken out, and I'm like 23. I'm like, what? No. Like this cannot be life. And so that's what kind of spurred everything.
Wow, and that's just really shot you into like I can heal myself.
It actually shot me into just a more first off, it was diet. I was like, okay, what's going on with my diet? I didn't want to smoke cannabis to begin with. My mother introduced it to me, and I was very apprehensive. I was just like, I didn't want to be a stoner. I didn't want to be sick. I'm in DC already. I just didn't want that association. But when I really studied up on the benefits of it, I was like, okay, I can actually do this and parent it with my background.
Oh, wow. Yeah. True inspiration. I'm so blessed and grateful for you to be here. What can the people expect from you upcoming next?
Definitely. So we actually full service cannabis catering. So we have a large event that's coming up at the end of this month. It's called Madrid in May. I know a lot of people can't travel right now, right? So we're actually doing a lot of small plates and tapas, cocktails that are all inspired from Spain. So that's really exciting. And then we have a special Mother's Day menu that I'm going to share with everyone here. But it's 5 items, drop off, contactless delivery, but it's great for like moms.
Wow, that's exciting. And for anyone truly interested, please follow and visit her website. Links right here. And that's how you can get in contact with her. Thank you so much, Chef Jazz. Is there anything else that you wanted to add or comment or anything that I'm forgetting to ask?
No, this has been great. It's always super fun.
Yes, it has been. And everyone at Mary & Main, and myself included, want to thank you. We are super grateful for you. And everyone that's watching, we want to thank you for coming in and joining us. If there's no more questions, then I would love to close this out. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Chef Jazz. Of course. And for everyone that is watching, please stay tuned for our episode next week, Wednesday at 6. Share, like, subscribe, all that good jazz to Mary & Main. That's it for me. Marissa is gone. I'm ready to go and infuse some oils. So until next time, y'all, stay sweet.